PMI CAPM Practice Test 2026. This video is part of the complete course. You can get the link in the description. A quick note for you: I want to help you learn fast. This practice test works like a real exam. It has many sections, just like your CAPM book. Each section will teach you a little bit first. Then, I will ask you 20 questions. After each question, I will give you the answer. I will also explain why that answer is correct. Listen carefully to the explanations. This is how you learn the ideas. Let's begin our practice. Section 1. Introduction to Project Management. Let's talk about projects. A project is special work. It has a clear start and a clear end. You do a project to create something new. Maybe a new building, a new software, or a new event. Project management is how you run that project. You use skills, tools, and methods. You do this to meet the project's goals. Every project has limits. These limits are scope, time, and cost. A project manager is the person in charge. They guide the team. They solve problems. They make sure the work gets done well. Now, there are different ways to manage a project. Some ways are very strict and planned step by step. This is called predictive project management. Other ways are more flexible. The work happens in small cycles. This is called adaptive project management. The most important thing for a project manager is to deliver value. Value means the product or result is useful. It helps the people it was made for. Remember, project work is different from regular work. Regular work, or operations, happens every day. It keeps the business running. But project work is temporary. It is for creating that new thing. Okay, let's test what you know. Section 1. Questions, answers, and explanations. 1. What is the main goal of a project? Answer: to create a unique product, service, or result. Explanation: a project is always done to make something new. This something new did not exist before the project started. That is its main goal. 2. What are the three main parts of the triple constraint? Answer: scope, time, and cost. Explanation: scope is the work to be done. Time is the schedule. Cost is the budget. These three things limit every project. If one changes, it affects the others. 3. Who is responsible for leading the project team? Answer: the project manager. Explanation: the project manager is the leader. They are given the authority to run the project. They plan the work and guide the team to the finish line. 4. What type of project life cycle is very detailed and planned in advance? Answer: predictive or waterfall life cycle. Explanation: in a predictive approach, you plan almost everything at the start. You then follow that plan step by step. Changes are not very welcome. 5. How is project work different from operational work? Answer: project work is temporary and creates something new. Operational work is ongoing and repeats. Explanation: running a factory is operational work. It happens every day. Building a new factory is a project. It has an end date and creates the new building. 6. What does delivering value mean in a project? Answer: it means the project's outcome is useful and meets the needs of the people. Explanation: value isn't just finishing the project. It means the final product actually helps the customer or users. 7. True or false? A project can go on forever. Answer: false. Explanation: a project must have an end date. If work never ends, it is not a project. It is likely operational work. 8. What is a key benefit of using project management? Answer: it helps you meet business goals more reliably. Explanation: good project management gives you control. It helps you finish on time, on budget, and gives the customer what they wanted. 9. What document formally authorizes a project to begin? Answer: the project charter. Explanation: the project charter is like the birth certificate for the project. It gives the project manager the official power to start work. 10. What is the name for the approved plan for what the project will and will not do? Answer: the project scope statement. Explanation: this document clearly says what work is included in the project. It also says what work is not included. This prevents confusion later. 11. Which of these is an example of a project? Answer: developing a new mobile application. Explanation: making a new app has a start and an end. It creates something unique. This makes it a project. 12. Which of these is an example of operations? Answer: processing monthly employee payroll. Explanation: payroll is done every month. It is a repeated process, not a temporary effort to create something new. 13. What is a stakeholder? Answer: any person or group who is affected by the project. Explanation: stakeholders can be customers, users, the project team, or company managers. Anyone who has an interest in the project is a stakeholder. 14. Why is it important to identify stakeholders early? Answer: so you can understand their needs and manage their expectations. Explanation: if you don't know who your stakeholders are, you might not build what they need. This can lead to project failure. 15. What is the main role of a project sponsor? Answer: to provide resources and support for the project. Explanation: the sponsor is usually a senior manager. They give money, people, and political support to help the project succeed. 16. What does the term progressive elaboration mean? Answer: planning in more detail as you learn more about the project. Explanation: you start with a basic plan. Then, as the project continues, you add more details to your plans. This is a normal part of planning. 17. What is a program? Answer: a group of related projects managed together. Explanation: a program is bigger than a single project. For example, a program to launch a new car might include separate projects for design, engine, and marketing. 18. What is a portfolio? Answer: a collection of projects, programs, and other work grouped to meet business goals. Explanation: a portfolio is the highest level. A company's portfolio includes all the projects and programs it is doing to help the whole business succeed. 19. True or false? A project manager spends most of their time doing technical work. Answer: false. Explanation: a project manager's main job is communication and leadership. They coordinate people. They do not do most of the technical work themselves. 20. What is the first high-level plan you create for a project? Answer: the project management plan. Explanation: the project management plan brings together all your smaller plans. It includes your scope, schedule, cost, and quality plans. It is your main guide for running the project. Section 2. The environment in which projects operate. Projects don't happen in a vacuum. They exist inside organizations and are influenced by many factors. First, let's talk about the organization itself. Companies can be set up in different ways. In a functional organization, people are grouped by their job type, like all engineers in one department. The project manager has little power here. In a project-oriented organization, the whole company is built around projects. The project manager has a lot of control. Most companies are a mix, called a matrix organization. Here, you have two bosses, your department manager and your project manager. These different styles affect how you run your project. They affect how you get resources and how much authority you have. Next, think about the bigger picture. This includes things outside your company that affect your project. We call these enterprise environmental factors. Examples are government rules, market conditions, or the company's own culture. You must understand these factors. They can create limits or give you opportunities for your project. Then, we have organizational process assets. These are your company's tools and knowledge. They are things like templates for plans, past project files, and specific ways of doing work. These assets help you. They save you time. You don't have to start from zero. Finally, remember that projects should support the company's strategy. A project should help the business move toward its big goals. If a project doesn't do this, it might be cancelled. The link between project work and business goals is very important. All right, now let's test your understanding of the project environment. Section 2. Questions, answers, and explanations. 1. In which type of organization does the project manager have the most authority? Answer: project-oriented organization. Explanation: in a project-oriented setup, the project manager is the main boss for the project team. They have high control over resources and decisions. 2. What is a matrix organization? Answer: an organization where team members report to both a functional manager and a project manager. Explanation: this is a common structure. You have your regular department boss, and you also have a project manager for your current project work. 3. What are enterprise environmental factors? Answer: conditions outside the project team that influence the project. Explanation: these are external or internal factors you must consider. They can be cultural, technological, or legal. You often cannot control them, but you must work within them. 4. Which of these is an example of an enterprise environmental factor? Answer: government regulations and laws. Explanation: laws are a classic example. Your project must follow all the rules set by the government, like safety or data privacy laws. 5. What are organizational process assets? Answer: the plans, processes, and knowledge bases specific to an organization. Explanation: these are internal resources that help you do your job. They are the company's own tools and lessons learned from the past. 6. Which of these is an example of an organizational process asset? Answer: a template for a project schedule. Explanation: a template is a tool provided by the company. Using it saves you time and makes sure your schedule follows the company's standard format. 7. Why is it important for a project to align with the organization's strategy? Answer: because projects that don't support business goals may not get funding or support. Explanation: companies use projects to move forward. If a project doesn't help the company get where it wants to go, it is not a good use of time and money. 8. What is the main role of a project governance framework? Answer: to provide a consistent system for decision-making and oversight. Explanation: governance is like the rules of the game. It makes sure projects are reviewed, controlled, and aligned properly across the whole organization. 9. What does project success typically mean? Answer: completing the project within scope, time, cost, and quality constraints, while delivering value. Explanation: success is not just finishing. It means you met the agreed upon requirements, stayed within your limits, and the customer is happy with the result. 10. True or false? Organizational culture is considered an enterprise environmental factor. Answer: true. Explanation: the culture of a company, how people work and behave, is an internal environmental factor that deeply affects how projects are run. 11. Who is usually responsible for defining the business case for a project? Answer: the project sponsor or initiating person. Explanation: the business case explains why the project is worth doing. It is usually created by senior leaders or sponsors before the project manager is even assigned. 12. What is a lessons learned register? Answer: a document that records what went well and what went wrong on a project. Explanation: this is a key organizational process asset. It helps future project teams learn from past mistakes and repeat past successes. 13. In a strong matrix organization, who has more power over the project team? Answer: the project manager. Explanation: strong matrix means the project manager's authority is stronger than the functional manager's authority for project work. 14. What external factor could force a major change in your project plan? Answer: a new competitor releasing a similar product. Explanation: market conditions are an external environmental factor. A competitor's action might force you to change your project's features or schedule to stay relevant. 15. What should you do with organizational process assets at the end of a project? Answer: update them with new lessons learned and project data. Explanation: these assets should get better over time. When you finish a project, you add your new experiences to the company's knowledge base for the next team. 16. What term describes the overall values and behavior in a company? Answer: organizational culture. It includes attitudes, work ethics, and management style. 17. True or false? A project manager can ignore the company's culture to get the project done faster. Answer: false. Explanation: ignoring company culture is a big mistake. If you work against the culture, you will face resistance and likely fail. You must work within it. 18. What provides the funding for a project? Answer: the project sponsor or the performing organization. Explanation: the sponsor or the company itself provides the financial resources, or budget, needed to complete the project work. 19. Which factor is more controllable by the project team? Enterprise environmental factors or organizational process assets? Answer: organizational process assets. Explanation: the team can choose to use or update the company's own assets. Enterprise environmental factors are usually given conditions that the team must accept. 20. Why is understanding the project environment a key skill for a project manager? Answer: because it helps the manager navigate constraints, use available tools, and gain support for the project. Explanation: a good project manager doesn't just manage tasks. They understand the world their project lives in. This helps them make smarter decisions and lead more effectively. Section 3. The role of the project manager. Let's talk about you, the project manager. Your job is more than just making lists. You are a leader. You bring people together to do great work. First, you have many skills. You need technical skills to understand the project work. You need leadership skills to guide your team. And you need strategic skills. This means you see the big picture. You connect the project to the company's goals. Think of yourself as an integrator. You take all the different pieces of a project, and you make them fit together. You connect the schedule with the budget. You connect the team's work with what the customer wants. You make everything work as one. Your main focus is on the team. You help them. You remove problems in their way. You build trust. A happy team does better work. You also talk to many people. You talk to customers, to managers, and to your team. Clear talking stops many problems before they start. You must also be ethical. You make fair choices. You tell the truth about problems. You treat everyone with respect. People need to trust you to follow you. Finally, you adapt. Every project is different. You change your style to fit the project. Sometimes you need to be strict. Other times, you need to be more supportive. A good project manager knows when to change their approach. Now, let's see how well you understand this important role. Section 3. Questions, answers, and explanations. 1. What is a key difference between a leader and a manager? Answer: a leader focuses on people and vision, a manager focuses on tasks and processes. Explanation: you need to do both. But leadership is about inspiring your team. Management is about organizing the work and tracking details. 2. What does acting as an integrator mean for a project manager? Answer: combining all parts of the project into a coordinated plan. Explanation: you don't manage each part alone. You make sure the schedule, budget, scope, and team work together smoothly. 3. Which skill helps a project manager understand the company's bigger goals? Answer: strategic and business management skills. Explanation: this skill lets you see why the project matters to the whole company. It helps you make decisions that support business success. 4. What is one of the project manager's main duties regarding the team? Answer: to motivate the team and create a good working environment. Explanation: the team does the real work. Your job is to support them, keep them focused, and help them work well together. 5. True or false? A project manager should hide bad news from the sponsor. Answer: false. Explanation: you must always be honest. Hiding problems makes them worse. A good sponsor will help you solve problems if they know about them early. 6. What does stakeholder engagement mean? Answer: communicating with stakeholders and involving them in the project. Explanation: you talk to stakeholders regularly. You listen to their needs. This keeps them supportive and helps you avoid surprises. 7. Why is communication the most important skill for a project manager? Answer: because most of a project manager's time is spent communicating. Explanation: you communicate to give information, solve problems, and build relationships. Without clear communication, the project will fail. 8. What is a tailoring approach? Answer: adjusting your project methods to fit the specific project. Explanation: you don't use the same plan for every project. You think about what this project needs, and you choose the right tools and processes. 9. Who is responsible for the project's success or failure? Answer: the project manager. Explanation: even with a great team, the project manager is ultimately accountable. They are the leader and the person in charge. 10. What should a project manager do first when a conflict happens in the team? Answer: address it quickly and directly with the people involved. Explanation: ignoring conflict hurts the team. Talk to the people, listen to both sides, and help them find a solution together. 11. What is the benefit of having a servant leadership style? Answer: it puts the team's needs first, which often leads to better performance. Explanation: servant leaders help their team succeed. They focus on removing obstacles. This builds strong trust and commitment. 12. What is emotional intelligence? Answer: the ability to understand and manage your own emotions and those of others. Explanation: this is crucial for a project manager. It helps you work with different personalities, manage stress, and resolve conflict smoothly. 13. True or false? A project manager needs to be the top technical expert on the team. Answer: false. Explanation: you need to understand the technology, but you don't need to be the best expert. Your job is to manage the work and the people, not do all the technical tasks yourself. 14. What is the purpose of a project manager using influence? Answer: to get things done when you don't have direct authority over people. Explanation: in matrix organizations, you often need to persuade people to do work for your project. Influence and good relationships are your tools. 15. What does professional and social responsibility include? Answer: being honest, fair, and respectful in all your project work. Explanation: you must follow ethical rules. You make decisions for the good of the project and society, not just for yourself. 16. Which activity is part of a project manager's closing duties? Answer: documenting lessons learned and archiving project files. Explanation: at the end, you don't just walk away. You collect information about what happened. This helps future projects learn from your experience. 17. Why is it important for a project manager to understand the business case? Answer: so they can make decisions that keep the project aligned with its original purpose. Explanation: the business case says why you are doing the project. If you forget the why, you might make choices that don't deliver the expected value. 18. What should you do if a stakeholder asks for a major new feature? Answer: Evaluate the impact on scope, time, and cost, and follow the formal change process. Explanation. You don't just say yes or no. You check how it affects everything. Then, you use the proper change control system to get a decision. 19. True or false? A project manager's authority is the same in every company. Answer. False. Explanation. Your authority depends on the company's structure. In a functional organization, you have little power. In a project-oriented one, you have a lot. 20. What is the best way to build trust with your team? Answer. By being reliable, transparent, and showing that you care about them. Explanation. Trust is earned. You keep your promises. You share information openly. You support your team members. Over time, this builds strong trust. Section 4. Project Integration Management. This is a core part of your job. Integration means making all the parts work together. Think of yourself as the conductor of an orchestra. Each musician plays a different instrument. Your job is to make sure they all play the same song at the right time. The main tool for this is the project management plan. This is not one plan. It is many plans combined. It has your schedule plan, your cost plan, your quality plan, and more. This big plan becomes your guide for the whole project. You start with the project charter. This document officially starts the project. It gives you the authority to use company resources. Then, you develop the project management plan. While the project runs, you direct and manage the work. Your team does the tasks, and you watch over everything. You also manage project knowledge. This means you share information with the team so everyone learns. A big part of your job is monitoring. You check if the work is going as planned. If something goes off track, you take action to fix it. When changes happen, and they will, you use a process. This is called Perform Integrated Change Control. Every change request is looked at carefully. You see how it affects the schedule, cost, and everything else. Then, a change control board, or your sponsor, decides if you should do it. Finally, you close the project or a phase. You make sure all work is done. You hand over the final product to the customer. You close all contracts and documents the lessons you learned. Let's practice how to integrate all the pieces of a project. Section 4. Questions, Answers, and Explanations. 1. What is the main purpose of project integration management? Answer. To coordinate all aspects of the project into one plan. Explanation. It's the central work that connects scope, time, cost, quality, and communication. Without integration, the project pieces would fall apart. 2. Which document formally authorizes the project to begin? Answer. The project charter. Explanation. The charter is signed by the sponsor. It gives the project manager authority and states the project's high-level goals and boundaries. 3. What is the primary output of Develop Project Management Plan? Answer. The Project Management Plan. Explanation. This process is where you create the single, main document that guides how you will execute, monitor, and close the project. 4. What does Direct and Manage Project Work involve? Answer. Leading the team to do the work defined in the plan. Explanation. This is where you carry out the plan. You guide the team, manage resources, and produce the project deliverables. 5. What is a change request? Answer: a formal proposal to change any part of the project plan or deliverables. Explanation: changes can be about scope, schedule, or cost. They must be written down and processed through the proper system, not done informally. 6. What process approves or rejects change requests? Answer: perform integrated change control. Explanation: this is a critical process. It reviews all change requests to understand their impact before deciding to approve them. 7. Who is often part of a change control board, CCB? Answer: key stakeholders and subject matter experts. Explanation: the CCB is a group that reviews change requests. They make the final decision on whether to approve major changes to the project. 8. True or false? The project manager can approve all change requests alone. Answer: false. Explanation: small changes might be in the project manager's power, but major changes usually need review by the sponsor or a change control board. 9. What is a deliverable? Answer: any unique and verifiable product, result, or capability produced by the project. Explanation: deliverables are the tangible things you create. A report, a software module, or a constructed building are all examples of deliverables. 10. What is the main purpose of the monitor and control project work process? Answer: to track project performance and make sure it aligns with the plan. Explanation: you compare actual work to the plan. If there is a difference, you find out why and take corrective action to get back on track. 11. What is an important activity during close project or phase? Answer: getting formal acceptance of the final product from the customer. Explanation: you need the customer to officially agree that the project is done and they have received what they wanted. 12. What is the lessons learned register used for? Answer: to record knowledge gained during the project for future use. Explanation: this document captures both successes and problems. It's a key organizational process asset that helps other project teams improve. 13. What is a baseline in project management? Answer: the approved version of a plan, like scope, schedule, or cost, used for comparison. Explanation: once a plan is approved, it becomes the baseline. You use it to measure if your project is on track. Changes to a baseline require formal approval. 14. Which process happens throughout the entire project? Answer: monitor and control project work. Explanation: you don't just monitor at the end. You are constantly watching performance from the start of the project until it closes. 15. True or false? The project management plan is created once at the start and never changes. Answer: false. Explanation: the plan is a living document. It is updated through the change control process as the project evolves and approved changes are made. 16. What is the key benefit of good project integration management? Answer: it ensures that project elements are properly coordinated. Explanation: good integration reduces confusion, improves communication, and increases the chance of meeting project objectives smoothly. 17. What should you do if you see the project is going over budget? Answer: analyze the cause, and if needed, submit a change request or take corrective action. Explanation: you don't ignore it. You figure out why it's happening. Then, you follow the proper process to fix the budget issue or get the plan changed. 18. Who provides the information to create the project charter? Answer: the project initiator or sponsor. Explanation: the sponsor usually has the business need. They provide the key information, and the project manager often helps write it, but the sponsor authorizes it. 19. What is the final step in the project life cycle? Answer: closing the project. Explanation: all projects must be closed formally. This includes administrative work, releasing resources, and archiving documents. 20. Why is it important to manage project knowledge? Answer: to share information with the team so they can do their work effectively and learn. Explanation: knowledge management helps the team avoid repeating mistakes. It allows them to use best practices and work smarter throughout the project. Section 5. Project Scope Management. Scope is about work. What work is included in your project? And, just as important, what work is not included? Getting this clear from the start is the best way to avoid problems later. You start by collecting requirements. You talk to stakeholders. You write down all their needs. This list becomes the basis for everything. Next, you define the scope. You write a detailed description of the project and its major deliverables. This document is called the Project Scope Statement. It tells everyone exactly what the project will produce. Then, you break it down. You take the big deliverables and split them into smaller, manageable pieces. This is called creating the Work Breakdown Structure, or WBS. The WBS is like a big family tree of all the project work. It helps you see everything that needs to be done. Once you have the scope defined, you need to control it. Scope creep is a big danger. This is when small changes keep adding new work without proper approval. To stop this, you use a formal process. Every change to the scope must be reviewed and approved. Finally, you validate the scope. This usually happens at the end of a phase or the project. You show the finished deliverables to the customer. They check it and give formal acceptance. This means they agree you did the work you promised. Let's look at questions about defining and controlling your project scope. Section 5. Questions, Answers, and Explanations. 1. What is the main purpose of project scope management? Answer: to ensure the project includes all the required work, and only the required work. Explanation: this helps you deliver what was promised, on time and on budget, without doing extra, unnecessary work. 2. What is the first step in scope management? Answer: planning how you will define and control scope. Explanation: before you collect requirements, you make a plan for your approach. This is the plan scope management process. 3. What is a requirement? Answer: a condition or capability that must be met by the project. Explanation: requirements come from stakeholders. They describe what the final product should do or how it should perform. 4. What document provides a detailed description of the project and its deliverables? Answer: the Project Scope Statement. Explanation: this document builds on the charter. It gives much more detail about what is in and out of scope. It is a key reference for the team. 5. What is a work breakdown structure, WBS? Answer: A hierarchical decomposition of the total work into smaller, more manageable parts. Explanation. The WBS breaks the big project into phases, then deliverables, then work packages. It shows all the work, but not the sequence. 6. What is the lowest level of the WBS called? Answer. A work package. Explanation. A work package is a piece of work that can be easily assigned to a team or person. It is where cost and time estimates are made. 7. What is scope creep? Answer. The uncontrolled addition of work to the project scope without approval. Explanation. Scope creep is dangerous. Small changes add up and can blow your budget and schedule. A formal change control process prevents it. 8. What process involves getting formal acceptance of completed deliverables from the customer? Answer. Validate scope. Explanation. This is a quality check with the customer. You show them the finished product. They inspect it and sign off that it meets their requirements. 9. True or false? The WBS includes the order in which work should be done. Answer. False. Explanation. The WBS shows what work needs to be done. The schedule, which comes later, shows the order and timing of the work. 10. Who is primarily responsible for providing project requirements? Answer. The project stakeholders, especially the customers and users. Explanation. The people who will use the product know what they need. Your job is to ask good questions and document their answers carefully. 11. What tool can help you group ideas from many stakeholders about requirements? Answer. Affinity diagrams. Explanation. In meetings, people give many ideas. An affinity diagram helps you group similar ideas together to find common themes and priorities. 12. What is the purpose of the control scope process? Answer. To monitor the status of the scope and manage changes to the scope baseline. Explanation. You watch for any changes to the scope. If a change is requested, you manage it through the integrated change control process. 13. What is an example of a project deliverable? Answer. A completed user manual for new software. Explanation. A deliverable is a tangible, verifiable output. The manual is something you can see, check, and hand over to the customer. 14. True or false? The project scope statement is part of the project charter. Answer. False. Explanation. The charter comes first and is high level. The scope statement comes later and is much more detailed. They are separate documents. 15. What is a scope baseline? Answer. The approved version of the scope statement, WBS, and its dictionary. Explanation. Once these documents are approved, they become the scope baseline. All future scope changes are measured against this baseline. 16. What might happen if you don't validate scope with the customer? Answer. The customer might reject the final product, saying it doesn't meet their needs. Explanation. Without formal acceptance, you might think you're done, but the customer disagrees. This leads to rework, delays, and unhappy stakeholders. 17. What is a technique used to collect detailed requirements? Answer. Interviews or workshops. Explanation. Talking directly to stakeholders, either one-on-one or in groups, is an excellent way to get detailed information about what they need. 18. What does the WBS dictionary provide? Answer. Detailed information about each component in the WBS. Explanation. For each work package, the dictionary describes the work, lists assumptions, and may include cost and resource information. 19. Why is it important to document what is not in scope? Answer. To manage stakeholder expectations and prevent them from assuming certain work will be done. Explanation. Clearly stating exclusions prevents arguments later. It sets boundaries and helps say no to out-of-scope requests. 20. What is the relationship between scope and quality? Answer. Scope defines what will be delivered. Quality defines how well it must be delivered. Explanation. You need both. You must deliver all the scope items, the what, and they must meet the agreed upon quality standards, the how well. Section 6. Project schedule management. Time is money. A good schedule tells you when each piece of work will happen. It helps your team know what to do next. It helps managers see your progress. You start by planning how you will manage the schedule. Then, you define the specific activities. You make a list of all these activities. Next, you sequence the activities. You decide the order. Which activity must finish before another can start. You use a tool called a precedence diagramming method to map these relationships. Then, you estimate how long each activity will take. You talk to your team. You use past data. You add up all these estimates to see the total project time. Now, you develop the schedule. You put your activities, their sequence, and their durations into a schedule tool. This gives you a model of your project timeline. You will see the start and end dates for everything. You will find the critical path. This is the longest sequence of activities that determines the shortest possible project duration. If an activity on the critical path is delayed, the whole project is delayed. Finally, you control the schedule. As work happens, you track it. You compare your actual progress to your plan. If you are falling behind, you find out why. You might need to take action to get back on track. This could mean adding more people or changing the sequence of work. Let's practice building and controlling a project schedule. 1. What is the main goal of project schedule management? Answer. To ensure the project is completed on time. Explanation. All schedule processes are designed to plan, create, and control a timeline that leads to timely project completion. 2. What is an activity in scheduling? Answer. A distinct, scheduled piece of work performed during the project. Explanation. Activities come from decomposing work packages in the WBS. 3. What is sequencing activities? Answer. Identifying and documenting the logical order of project activities. Explanation. You figure out which activities depend on others. You cannot pour concrete, activity B, until you build the wooden frame, activity A. B depends on A. 4. What is a predecessor activity? Answer. An activity that comes before another activity in the schedule. 5. What is a dependency? Answer. The relationship between two activities, where one activity relies on another. Explanation. There are different types. The most common is a finish-to-start dependency, where you must finish activity A before you can start activity B. 6. What does estimate activity durations mean? Answer. Estimating the number of work periods needed to complete each activity. Explanation. You predict how long each task will take. You often do this with input from the team member who will do the work. 7. What is the critical path? Answer: the longest path through the project schedule, with zero float. Explanation: this is the sequence of activities that cannot be delayed without delaying the whole project. It determines the project's earliest finish date. 8. What is float or slack? Answer: the amount of time an activity can be delayed without delaying the project finish date. Explanation: activities not on the critical path have float. For example, an activity with 3 days of float can be delayed up to 3 days without harming the project deadline. 9. True or false? Shortening the critical path always shortens the project. Answer: true. Explanation: since the critical path defines the project duration, making activities on that path finish faster will reduce the total project time. 10. What is a common tool for visualizing a project schedule? Answer: a Gantt chart. Explanation: a Gantt chart is a bar chart that shows activities as horizontal bars along a timeline. It's easy to see what should be happening and when. 11. What is schedule compression? Answer: shortening the project schedule without reducing the scope. Explanation: two main techniques are crashing, adding resources, and fast tracking, doing activities in parallel that were originally sequential. 12. What is the difference between effort and duration? Answer: effort is the total work hours needed. Duration is the total calendar time from start to finish. Explanation: an activity may take 16 hours of effort, 2-person days. But if only one person works 4 hours a day on it, the duration is 4 calendar days. 13. Why is it important to get team input for duration estimates? Answer: because the people doing the work usually have the best idea of how long it will take. Explanation: if the project manager guesses alone, the estimates may be unrealistic. Team input leads to more accurate and committed schedules. 14. What is milestone? Answer: a significant point or event in the project, with zero duration. Explanation: milestones mark progress. They are checkpoints on your schedule. 15. True or false? You should never change the schedule baseline. Answer: false. Explanation: the baseline should only be changed through the formal change control process. If approved changes affect the schedule, you update the baseline to reflect the new, approved plan. 16. What should you do if an activity is taking longer than estimated? Answer: analyze the impact on the critical path and project finish date, then take corrective action if needed. Closing parenthesis dot. If it does matter, you might need to reallocate resources or adjust the plan. 17. What is fast tracking? Answer: a schedule compression technique where you do activities in parallel instead of in sequence. Explanation: this saves time but increases risk. If activity B starts before activity A is fully finished, a mistake in A could cause rework in B. 18. What is the purpose of the control schedule process? Answer: to monitor the status of project activities and update the schedule model. Explanation: you track progress, compare it to the baseline, and manage changes to the schedule to keep the project on time. 19. What information do you need to develop a realistic schedule? Answer: activity list, sequence, resource estimates, duration estimates, and constraints. Explanation: you combine all these pieces of information in a scheduling tool to calculate the project dates and critical path. 20. Why is it important to communicate the project schedule to the team? Answer: so everyone knows their deadlines and how their work fits into the overall plan. Explanation: a shared schedule helps the team coordinate their efforts. It builds a common understanding of priorities and due dates. You've completed this practice test. This video covered important parts of the CAPM exam. But remember, this is just a practice part of the complete course. To learn all the knowledge areas, processes, and formulas, and to be fully confident on exam day, you need the full course. The link to get the complete course is in the description below.